Turf TV are with John Wells, the golf course manager here at South Herts Golf Club. John, thanks for your time today. And it's a busy time of year for you, lots going on. I'd like to find out a little bit about you and how you got into the industry. So what was your introduction to the turf gear industry?
I came in the industry when I was 16 years old in 1975. I was due to go and do an apprenticeship in carpentry in the September, but to earn some extra money I worked on a golf course in the summer, and the moment I started working on there I realised that's where I wanted to stay, and been on the golf course ever since.
And after that first introduction, how did your career develop? Where have you been before getting here?
My career developed quite fast. I was at Wellingarn City Golf Club. First job was to put all the divots back that Nick Fowler used to take off the practice ground, 16-year-old lad, and I stayed there, went through college, and at the age of 20 they appointed me as head greenkeeper when the head greenkeeper moved on. I stayed there for 12 years before I got appointed at Brocket Hall Golf Club to grow in their first golf course, the Melbourne course, and then subsequently developed their second course, the Palmerston Golf Course. So I was there 19 years, and then after 19 years there I decided to move on. I came here 4.5 years ago. I've loved every minute of it.
So that 4.5 years, you're working with a team of guys here. What sort of team have you got behind you, and what kind of resource?
Yeah, I inherited a very stable team. Most of them are all still with me. I've developed them a bit more since I come on board to my way of thinking. So I'm very lucky that I've got a settled team. I've got a superb deputy who also doubles up with as a mechanic because he's very knowledgeable. And I've increased the team by one since I come here. I have 27 holes here, and I only had 7 staff including myself. I've now got 8 staff including myself, but one of them must always be a modern apprentice, so we'll always be training somebody into the industry every 20 months.
And 4.5 years you've been here now. What's the brief? What was the brief when you first came, should I say?
Well, the brief was South Herts always had a high reputation as a really high quality members golf club, and it lost that reputation a little bit. They sort of course lost its way a bit through the 1990s and early 20s. So my brief was to put it back to where it belonged. We've managed to do that over the last 4 or 5 years. We've worked really hard on the course. Including a complete bunker renovation. We've gone to the new modern style of draining the complete bunker out with stone below the base of the bunker, and then a rubber crumb above it, covered with a high quality sand. I've improved the greens back to a nice firm condition, and the whole golf course we've lifted just the manicure of the course and the fine tension detail. So there's been some good investment, sensible investment, and we've now got the golf course where we want it, and we will now continue with further expenditure on the course.
So any particular challenges that this course gives you, any difficulties?
Yes, I was always told as a young lad, enjoy your greenkeeping and never work on a clay course, and I find that after 2 courses I've worked on, I've now come to work on a clay course, and the big challenge is the sort of 4 or 5 winter months, keeping the course open, keeping it playable. So we've got some good drainage, we've done more, but we're taking on an £80,000 contract this September. It was due to be last September, but the company couldn't fulfil the contract. They were behind on other work, so we're actually going to do it this next year in-house with another company as a joint project, which I'm really looking forward to, the challenge.
So that's going to be a big project for you.
Yeah, it's redraining. A lot of the fairways were drained in the early years, but there's 4 or 5 fairways that have got no drainage in. They just sit so wet in the winter, and the turf goes like jelly, so we're redraining all those 5 fairways.
Brilliant. John, over your years you must have had some people that have influenced you. Who have been the biggest influences on your career so far, should we say?
Obviously a number of greenkeepers helped me a lot. I've never stopped learning, and you never will stop learning to this day. But the biggest influence on me in my early years, when I was at Wellingarn City, because I took over at the age of 20, I insisted on some agronomy support, and luckily I had a greenkeeper called John Campbell, who was an old superintendent from St Andrews. He at the time had moved to Fox Hills to develop the 36-hole complex there, and he came in twice a year as my consultant and helped me greatly for 5 years. In later years, Lawrence Piffy helped me to achieve my Master Greenkeeper certificate, and really just I just go to many lectures and just keep my ear to the ground, talk a lot at Harrogate to other greenkeepers, and you learn from each other, so just constantly learning off other greenkeepers.
And if you were going to give one piece of advice to a budding greenkeeper, what would it be?
be dedicated, because it's a wonderful industry and you'll only get out of it what you put into this job, and that is a fact. The harder you work and the more organised you are, the better results you'll get.
That's brilliant. Well, John, one final question for you. You don't feel like you want to answer this. It's just our little fun one we do at the end. Who looks after the grass at home? And what do you use to cut it, or what do they use to cut it?
I look after the grass at home. I currently live at my father's house, and he's too old now, so I look after the grass. I keep it tidy, keep the moss out of it, so reasonable ones. But I spend more time in the back garden where I grow a lot of veg. That's one of my passions, growing vegetables. So the lawns are tidy, but not like pudding greens.
Brilliant. John, thanks
Okay.
ever so much for your time.
Thank you.